Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And I apologize. I was not feeling shots today. I knew I was going to struggle there.
Better start feeling something. Dude,
I swear, I got 3 more. Look, guys, I got to tell y'all something. I woke up this morning, and I couldn't remember what the shot bet was. It was at the end of the pod. Like, we kind of came up with the last second. And I knew that we considered betting on JaMycal Hasty because I was very high on JaMycal Hasty coming in. I thought he would be the lead rusher for the 49ers next week. And I thought he would hit 40, 50 yards. Didn't touch that. But I remember you offering it and me saying, maybe not. And then we would circle back and decide a shot. And I just was thinking to myself, hopefully I didn't make that bet. So we go back and listen to the pod on your favorite podcast listening app, and you should probably subscribe if you haven't already. And sure enough, we get to the very end, we circle back, and we haggled over the JaMycal Hasty line for a good 30 seconds. JaMycal Hasty got 11 yards, so the haggling didn't matter. We were in the 40s and 50s. He crushed me. And I was not excited to take these shots all day, still not. And the second it touched my tongue, my whole body went, Hey,
I love it. It only worked out in my favor.
It only worked out in your favor. And look, we made this deal a long time ago. This happens sometimes. You just don't feel it. But you got to carry on. You got to keep going. We have a great show. Tell them what we're talking about while I take this next shot.
So we are going to do the segment that we brought in last year where we are looking at overall franchises and the way that it goes, and we're ready to close the book on 2 of them today. We have the New York Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We gotta you
bro, it's no surprise who we're closing. Come on now.
Right.
These teams
There's a build-up, bro.
These teams are steaming piles of trash, and we're going to let you know what you can look forward to and kind of why they're trash right now. But, we'll get into that, officially close the book on them, and then we get to move on. And slowly, as the NFL weeks keep going, I think we are officially at the midway point now.
Yeah. We're
going to start closing some books.
We were going to have the build-up, and then,
I like it.
It didn't work out. It's okay. It's okay. We know what it is.
No surprise who sucks.
Everyone knows. You're absolutely right. But and then we're going to go, and you told them about Tua. We're going to break down Tua.
No, Tua time's coming.
Tua time's coming. Then we're going to do our picks. So let's start with the Jets. We are closing the book on the New York Jets. And this audio, courtesy of Fitz GFY on YouTube. Love this. We got to play this for you guys.
J-E-T-S. Suck.
They do, though.
They suck really fucking bad.
They do.
All right, let's talk about the Jets because I think it's hilarious. And I'm a Dolphins fan, and the Dolphins are actually kind of good. And I remember at the beginning of the season, it was a conversation who's going to be the bottom of the AFC East?
Yeah.
Dolphins or Jets, right? That was the whole conversation. Yeah, it's not the Dolphins. That's for damn sure. Jets were fighting to get out of their Trevor Lawrence pick last night. Almost beat the Patriots. But let's talk about the Jets here. Their last Super Bowl championship, 1968. Their last playoff appearance in general, 2010. So it has been officially a decade.
You're a freshman in high school.
Yeah, exactly. Officially a decade of no Jets in the playoffs, which is the way I think it should be. I'll be honest with you guys, but I'm biased. And I think it's fitting. I really do. Their nickname basically sounds like a disease anyway, gangrene. That's already disease. So why wouldn't they have their worst start in franchise history the year that a deadly virus is introduced to the world and takes the entire world by storm? I think it's fitting. When you hire a head coach whose favorite quarterback is Jay Cutler and favorite running back is Frank Gore, you're going to struggle. And that's exactly what Adam Gase is. Yeah, the quarterback, Jay Cutler, that was his quarterback for the Bears. And then he's the head coach for the Dolphins. Tannehill gets hurt that year, and what does he do? Calls up Jay Cutler to come out of retirement, pays him $10 million to suck for an extra year. It's kind of a good deal for Jay Cutler. Why not?
Great.
And then Frank Gore, he brought Frank Gore to Miami. Then he brings Frank Gore to the Jets. And honestly, Frank Gore's been on every other team in the NFL. So I'm sure he's been somewhere. I'm sure he's been with the Jets or with Adam Gase somewhere along the way as well. Good news for the Jets if you're a Jets fan. Has the first pick for the Seattle Seahawks. So got that in return for their safety there.
For one of the best safeties in the league.
Yeah. So, it's a little bit of a trade-off, but you're probably going to have maybe a late 20s, maybe your 30s.
Could be
pick.
32.
Honestly, it really could be. So that's where they're looking right now. Not probably a pretty good deal for the Seahawks, not so good for the Jets, and they suck. I mean, is there anything else you want to say about this team? This is us closing the book.
Yeah, no. Well, we're going to open it once we get to draft talk.
Oh, of course.
Because we're going to mention the Jets as we go, just because of the man Trevor Lawrence and the generational talent that they are going to land. So, Jets, unfortunate year. We kind of knew this was coming. You cut ties with Lev Bell. You save yourself some money going forward. I don't know. I mean, I was upset when Burrow was going to the Bengals. I was upset. I could point to 4 good pieces on that team where I was like, I see it, though.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, have fun. Get ready. Especially with the man at the helm and Adam Gase. That is the matchup that I don't want to see.
He's not going to be there when Trevor Lawrence is there.
Man.
You think they keep him?
What if they let him go with it?
On what unit? Like, he's been a head coach since 2016 between the Dolphins and the Jets. He's 30 and 43.
Team and his argument is going to say, since I got here, we have been in this upheaval rebuild process where I really haven't had my guy. Let me get my quarterback. Peyton Manning's endorsed the man. I don't know how many others have come out and endorsed the man. You're wrong for doing it. I don't know why you do it. But he's got it, and if he's able to take this thing on a spin with Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man. Here we go.
I think the only and I could be wrong by this, but I think the only reason the owner is electing to keep Adam Gase as long as he has, because let's face it, if this was a franchise that expected to be good this year, they would have cut ties with them a long time ago. We saw what the Texans did in Week 4. I believe this is a franchise that is keeping Adam Gase to be the lame duck head coach for the rest of the season, because that's where he's at right now. He has to finish out the season, hopefully win one game along the way, go 1-15, get the first pick. See ya. I believe he will be fired the Monday after their last game. So like Fire Monday or Black Monday in the NFL after Week 17. He will be gone. And they will find somebody else. They'll probably get one of the top names because they'll have a number 1 pick. Like,
Chiefs offensive coordinator.
I was going to say Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy would be the number 1, and then that's obviously that I think that's a great pick in general. And then he gets to basically say, hey, I'm going to have Trevor Lawrence and then another top 30 pick or top 32 talent in the draft, and we're gonna rebuild from there. And look, every team at this point when you talk about a team that's 0-8 and we're in this moment right now and we're like, they suck, we don't want to talk about the Jets anymore for the rest of the year after this conversation, unless we're doing our picks, obviously. But for in this moment, yes, they suck. They're terrible. But give them a year. Their wide receiver core, not bad. Denzel Mims has shown some promise. I feel like Perryman has kind of restarted his career. Had a great game last week with 2 touchdowns, or last night actually, as of us recording this. You have Jamison Crowder in there. You got a rookie offensive tackle in there. So hopefully you can rebuild the offensive line around that big motherfucker from Louisville, Mekhi Becton. I lost the name. And your defense isn't bad or isn't good. It isn't good at all. But you do have some pieces that opted out. Mosley's going to be back next year. Your safety, Marcus May, the dude you drafted in the second round after taking their safety that they just traded, Jamal. Sorry, I'm losing names today. That's the alcohol. But Marcus May, pretty good safety in the back end. You have pieces, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're good. They're the worst team in the NFL right now. They are going to be the number 1 pick. But like any NFL team, there's gonna be things change fast. The Dolphins were the worst team in the NFL last year, or at least at this point last year, everyone thought the Dolphins was the worst team in the NFL, right? Yeah. And things changed. So it goes so quick. Right? Is that fair to say?
No, it's fair to say. I mean, because you go 3 seasons back and the Dolphins are like, man, I mean, all of us are looking at it like, what do they have? What do y'all have going forward?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the promise? And now people would argue that y'all are a top 5 roster team talent future value going forward.
People will be excited about the future. Maybe not right this second.
Well, I'm saying that's why I said top 5 future value, because right now a lot of the guys haven't hit. We haven't really gotten to see it, but with the way that it's going, this wasn't even your push year. No, and we'll talk about Tua later, but exactly, year 2 going into year 3, we're already kind of flirting with the playoffs. Yeah. Jets on this, it's going to start with Trevor Lawrence, and the way that I want to see them do it is I want to see them go all out. I really do. I want to see them move some of their pieces around, move some of their cap hits, their aging guys, see if they can get some picks, see if they can start to really develop and invest in that offensive line. Mekhi Becton looks good. As of now, I think his floor is a starting tackle. Yeah. And a lot of people said for a project left tackle, you may not know if that hits or not. Yeah. So I think he's good. I think he's going to be a starter for years in the league. Yeah. And depending on health-wise, he might be able to go up from there. You got to work on your
Quentin Williams needs to get better. The top 3 pick
I think it's some of the other talent around him. At number 3 overall, you're expecting that guy to kind of disrupt on his own.
Yeah. I mean, even Derek Brown, who I compared
Derek Brown's doing good.
Yeah, I compared to Quentin Williams throughout the draft process. I thought it was ridiculous, and I still do. Ridiculous that people weren't talking about him in the same breath as Quentin Williams because they were absolutely pretty close to identical coming out as far as like prospects coming out of college. And Quentin Williams was seen as this like borderline on the same level as Joey Bosa and
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa. Yeah, thank you. And Derek Brown was the 7th pick in the draft.
Yeah, kind of held back with like
fell a little
Kinlaw area.
Yeah, but I mean, here we are, and Derek Brown's doing a lot better than Quentin Williams was doing in his
and that's
first year.
going in 2 seasons.
Now, granted, the Panthers are a better football team. Panthers are a better coached football team, especially defensively. So there's a lot of other elements to that. So it's not just black and white, but still. I think fair point.
I want to see the Jets get Odell in the offseason. Just some weird moves. I think Odell's stock is down right now. Yeah. I want to see them draft Travis Etienne. I want to see them use a running back in the 1st or 2nd round. Mm-hmm. I know it's different. I know you can find them late, but when you have P. Ryan and Frank Gore coming at you, none of that can really help out your quarterback ever. Yeah. There's just no way. With a bad offensive line, I really want to see them take time and look at this offense and get it going.
I'd probably approach it differently than you. I mean, obviously, you take Trevor. If you have that first pick, you take Trevor. And it's looking like that's going to be the case. Granted, they could win a couple games and surprise us, and maybe a team like the Texans maybe end up number 1. That would be cool. I'm kidding. I'm a Dolphins fan, and we got the number 1 pick if the Texans go number 1. Anyway, but getting back to the Jets, I would probably invest in the offensive defense line. Same kind of theory that I was talking about last offseason with the Dolphins. I wanted no part of taking a running back in the first couple rounds, even though we had all the extra picks and people were saying, take a running back, take one of the top picks. I didn't want that because I wanted to build out the rest of our roster and plug a running back in when we were good. And now, coming into this year, I'll probably be saying, hey, let's maybe take a running back in the first round, like
because your roster
exactly because we're to that point.
Looking back at the Dolphins with that pick 18 though, instead of the 6 offensive linemen,
he's been playing well. I would rather.
He's not bad. And that's fine. I'm not saying at 18 necessarily, but Noah Igbenogany. How about that pick? He's playing great.
He's been
going back and looking at it.
Would you rather have a
running back was slated there? You could have had a DeAndre Swift. You could have had a Dobbins. You could have had a Clyde Edwards. And with the way that your offense is looking, that'd be a good complementary piece. Yeah. Trust me, I know you can find running backs late. The Jets are different than the Dolphins. It's good to say we're complimenting you here. Y'all did a good job building up your team. You hit on the picks you needed to hit on. The Jets haven't hit on the picks they need to hit on the offensive and defensive front line. And when you do that and make those picks in a Quentin Williams, it's missed as of now for the number 3 overall pick, you can't justify that. That's where the fans kind of want to see the good pick. They want to see the sexy pick, the immediate impact pick. You can't afford to miss on those real gritty picks on the offensive and defensive line. When they hit, it's awesome, and you're really moving your team forward more than you would in the other areas. But man, it hurts you.
I totally get where you're coming from with that. I would argue that first of all, and it's not apples to apples true, but I mean there's a similar possibility of missing on a running back as there is a
for
tackle
sure.
or
no, for sure. Yeah.
Granted, in the first round, no. If you draft a running back in the first round, you miss, you really fucked up. Like you really fucked up. You can't miss on a running back in the first round. But it does happen. I mean, Sony Michel was a first round pick. And
my argument comes from the value of linemen. If you have the top tackle versus the top running back, tackle all day. If you have the 6th or 7th tackle that's a fringe day 2 draft pick, but you just need that spot, versus getting the true impact player that you could in a Travis Etienne or a Najee Harris or someone that day 1 kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I go running back there for the Jets.
So I want to take this off topic just for a second because you mentioned something. And look, this is if you are a new listener, this is our bread and butter. We start with one topic and we just derail. That's why recently. That's why recently we were like, okay, let's just bring up 2 topics because we always end up spending 30 minutes on something we never plan on talking about, which is fine. That's what we like to do. But so the Dolphins traded Tunsil. Sorry, I lost the name. Tunsil to the Texans essentially for 2 first-round picks in a second. This first-round pick from the Texans, it's going to be a top 10 pick. Yeah. Where it's going to end up being, who knows? But it's going to be a top 10 pick, and we're probably going to have a chance at either the Alabama tackle coming out or Alex the Georgia or the Oregon tackle coming out. And the names better than me.
If you get Penei Sewell, the Oregon tackle,
I say either one.
I'd eat a pillow
I was gonna
out
say
of happiness.
I was gonna say so how
franchise.
crazy is, and this is just a minor like random point. How crazy is that we're gonna trade Tunsil for amazing value, by the way,
arguably the best young left tackle,
exactly,
for a better one,
for a tackle who could end up being better, and we got an extra first and extra second, and we traded, and we didn't have to pay him. And we traded the tackle when we didn't really need a franchise left tackle when we sucked anyway.
Yeah.
Granted.
No, I mean it's
funny to think
it's
like
genius
that.
money moves. It really is, because at the time you're like, why are you going to get rid of this building block piece? And it's like, as a coach, you're sitting there like,
we were
hey,
selling everybody.
Yeah, it's like
we're selling everybody.
We're getting out of this. There's no point in being in this state of mediocrity where you have these good pieces, but before you know it, your team's ready to compete. And Laramie Tunsil's on a contract year at 28 years old, and it's like, what do we do now?
So let's bring that back. So because we're kind of seeing it play out well for the Dolphins, obviously. If you're a team that's gonna suck, right? What is wrong with, because as a fan, look, it's been rough. The past couple of years has been rough in the sense that like I didn't have any emotional investment in the Dolphins in 2019, and really in the first couple, I thought we were gonna really suck this year too. I didn't have a whole lot of emotional investment in the first couple losses. Like it didn't hurt me at all that we lost to the Patriots and Bills coming out. I was like, oh, we'll get an early draft pick, whatever. We'll be good next year. Like that was kind of my thought process for really 2 years now. Now, like again, I feel I'm feeling what it's like to be a fan again.
Yeah.
Like I was.
You're going into each week, no matter
it.
the team, and it's like, let's see it.
Yeah. So like I was in it last week, and I'm a fucking crazy ass fan. Like when I'm in it, I'm in it. But I say all that to say, I really hope that teams like the Jets, the Jags, like teams like the Jags are kind of doing the same thing. I hope they take a note and say, hey, regardless of the age, regardless of the talent, regardless of any of that, let's take, trade, be willing to trade away just about anybody. And looking back, it's not always going to look pretty. We traded Fitzpatrick for the 18th pick in the NFL draft, and I think we gave up a 4th round pick to do that. And obviously, I would much rather have Minka Fitzpatrick than Austin Jackson, who we got with that 18th pick. But we were purging our roster. Fitzpatrick did not want to be there at that point, and it worked out for everybody. It worked out for the Steelers more than it worked out for the Dolphins. But we were purging our roster, and we were giving young guys a chance to develop and learn. And now a lot of the young guys that we gave a chance to develop and learn are playing pretty well right now, So I do think if you have the right, I don't think you should do it unless you have the coach for the future. Like the Dolphins did it the right way in that they drafted, they hire Flores, and they say, hey, we're going to give you 3 or 4 years to show improvement, and we know our roster sucks. We are going to purge this roster. It's going to be really hard in 2019, and hopefully you can turn around in 2020. But we're not even grading you on the first 2 years. Like I truly believe that was kind of the mindset the Dolphins had, at least as a fan and the fans that I know.
Yeah, wins, losses do not matter. You work on that locker room.
We were not even going to start grading Brian Flores until 2020 or 2021 and really see what he could do with an improved roster and a chance to develop talent. Now we're sitting here in 2020 5-3, and we actually have a chance to compete for a playoffs. And granted, we are lacking in some aspects of our roster. I'm not saying we're a great team. The last 2 wins against the Rams and Cardinals largely, at some level was in part to defensive touchdowns and stuff like that had an impact. I get that, but I'm just saying for these bad teams moving forward, I hope that they do take a page out of the Dolphins book. And really, I'll look at the Jets. Other than trading away your star safety who didn't want to be there, they didn't really make a whole lot of moves. I know they traded like a linebacker or something to someone.
And they traded Avery Williams, who's a good
49ers. Was that what it was?
Steelers.
To Steelers. Okay, I knew they traded to somebody good. So, a little bit, but you had other pieces you probably could have moved, and...
Man, Jets are scrapped.
You're right.
CJ Mosley's in an opt-out, so I don't know how that... You can't really...
What about a Jamison Crowder?
You could move a Jamison Crowder.
You're telling me the 49ers couldn't... And granted, trade deadline's over, so we're talking past tense.
Yeah.
You're telling me the 49ers couldn't have used a Jamison... The 49ers are a bad example. Eagles. The Eagles couldn't have used a Jamison Crowder. Maybe they don't want to trade for a wide receiver. There's teams out there that need wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's ways that you could strip your roster. The problem that I have with it is because... Like, Dolphins, it goes to all their credit. They did a great job with it.
Yeah.
But there are teams that we have seen strip in the past and try to rebuild, and you get stuck because it's one of those hindsight 2020 things. If it works, it works, and it's great. You got rid of all of this good talent, Minka Fitzpatrick, Laramie Tunsil, blah, blah, blah. You're able to forget that and look to the future. We're talking about the Texans right now, though, who got rid of a DeAndre Hopkins, got rid of their first-round pick. Yes, they've been bringing...
Yeah, but they weren't doing that to rebuild, though.
No,
you know
not to rebuild, but now look at the guy going forward, the guy who's going to have to inherit that team, whatever coach may be. if you're going to talk about breaking up a roster, that's the one that I'd be breaking up then if you're wanting to do that same format.
Look, they were in conversation trading to trade Will Fuller to the Green Bay Packers, and it came out that Deshaun Watson said the locker room would have hated it. As a Dolphins fan, I wish they would have done that because it would have taken away talent from the team that we get their number one pick. But also, just as a fan of the Texans, Will Fuller's on a contract year. He's $10 million wide receiver. Are you going to pay him next year? I mean, whatever you could have gotten from the Packers, they should have taken it because they were not going to do anything else but suck this year anyway. And they are in a deficit when it comes to assets moving forward. So whatever asset they could have gotten for a guy who is a free agent at the end of this year, they should have done that. They absolutely should have done that, and the Packers should have made the move. I think the Packers kind of knew the situation the Texans were in, and the Texans still or still refused to make that move. That was a bad move by the Texans not trading Will Fuller. I truly believe that.
It was bonehead. I mean, I just don't know at what point.
Yeah,
it feels like they're still holding up and being like, no, we're the Texans. We got Deshaun Watson. We're good. Yeah. We're sitting over here, and then they just turn around and cry because everyone in the league knows whoever gets this is getting a dumpster fire.
You One more thing on the Jets.
Would you rather be a GM moving forward right now, as is Texans, Jets?
As a GM,
we're looking right now at the Jets having the number one pick. The Texans, you have Deshaun Watson, but you don't have the cap.
I am going. A couple things go into account. I think if you strip away the city they're in and the media and the other aspects of it, I might lean Jets. I might.
Give me straight up where you can win. Yeah,
but I think, and because you're also taking in the fact that right now I'm under the assumption that they're getting Trevor Lawrence. So I do believe if I'm a Jets GM, I have my quarterback of the future.
Yeah.
So the Deshaun Watson factor maybe isn't as big of a deal, especially if you believe Trevor Lawrence is going to be as good as maybe I believe. And you asked me this question, so I'm going to go from that mindset. I would still take the Texans because I do not want to be just straight up. I understand we are at a deficit for picks this year. But also what that is that is an excuse for why, for a little bit extra leeway. Like any fan, any reporter, anybody like that is going to at least get, anybody is going to give them the benefit of the doubt that, hey, the last regime traded away your first and second round pick. That's not your fault moving forward. So that, and the fact that if I'm in the New York Jets, I am having to deal with that New York media every single week, and that media is it's hard.
In your face, man.
Yeah, and look, I mean,
you got to have answers now.
They talk about especially the New York Giants and New York Jets when they interview players. I mean, they have to bring in that mindset for hey, can you handle the media? Look at OBJ. He couldn't. I mean, in a weird way, he could, but it kind of got to his head, and he couldn't handle it the right way.
Temperament after you're going through some stuff on and off the field, you're not happy, and the media's gonna come poke you
exactly
about that.
And Grant, look, I understand until maybe people that might not get what I'm saying. The media is everywhere. If you're a great wide receiver for the Dolphins, you're still getting attention as the same. But it's not the same in New York because New York is where they're recording ESPN. It's where they're it's so much more of a magnifying glass. Everybody is watching New York. It's just the media is relentless. The local media in New York is so much bigger. It's just it's just one of those things where it is tough. I mean, you feel for guys like that.
That's why I say the Jets.
Yeah. You take the Jets?
I think it is a market that has so much exponential value that is yet to be really, really controlled because they just mismanage their moves along the way so many times. I think with Trevor Lawrence right here, it is your chance to truly get on the right path.
Yeah.
As long as you are able to develop and get talent around him. I think he is good enough to do what Joe Burrow is doing and then some at Cincinnati.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
So let's take it for what it is. I mean, we're going a year and a half back, looking at the Bengals' future. Where's it at? And now one man has already been able to change that whole kind of thing that we're looking at it. I value Trevor Lawrence more than Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Let's see the way it goes. That's why I say that. Yeah.
Hey, I absolutely agree. I'm so excited for the off season when we get a chance to kind of relax from the picks and everything that's going on and really dive into the Jet because we did it last year a little bit.
Just talk strategy.
Yeah, right? But we did it last year, but we started a little late and we weren't able to get to every team. This year we're gonna have kind of a plan moving forward. I'm really excited to do it with the Jets, and we're kind of giving you a hint of how we think and what we're gonna do, with that. But so let's move on to the other team. The book is closed. I love that you said yes. The book is closed. We're done with the Jets. All right, we are done with the Jets. We're not talking about them anymore. If you are a Jets fan, still listen to us, but wait until the offseason.
Mention it from time to time when it comes to week
of course, that's about it. So let's move on. And I'm doing the drum roll. You guys know what it is. I don't care. I like this audio.
J.
Oh, wrong one. My bad. You know what? I like that audio too. I stand by it.
Still there.
All right, one more time. The Jaguars are the next team that are done for this season. The 1-7 Jaguars, the team that won in week 1, beat the Colts and made everyone think, wait, are the Colts not as good as we thought they were going to be?
Is Minshew the guy?
And wait, is Gardner Minshew going to be the dude? Are the Jaguars going to be better than we thought? And guess what happened? The week 1 weirdness is over. It's gone, and the Colts are actually a really good team because their defense is awesome and their offense is good enough, and the Jaguars are the Jaguars. They are who we thought they would be. They are 1-7 and they are done. We are going to close the book, but not before we go through the Jacksonville Jaguars, and let's talk a little bit of history. In 2017, they hired Doug Marrone to be their head coach. And at that time, people might forget, unless you're a Jaguars fan, you remember very clearly, Jaguars were good. It really felt like, hey, they could really turn the corner. And guess what they did in 2017?
AFC championship.
They turned the corner. They were the AFC South champions. First of all, they won their division. They were awesome all the way through. They make it to the championship. They're one play away from making it to the Super Bowl. Who knows what would have happened?
A Tom Brady comeback, miracle comeback.
A miracle. It wasn't just a comeback. It was not quite of a Falcons 28-3 comeback, but it was like one notch below.
For Brady to do what he did against that's how good that defense was.
The GOAT got him.
It was insane. Yeah.
It was an absolutely amazing game. The Jaguars were so good. I remember going into 2018 being so high on the Jacksonville Jaguars, thinking they're going to be good. Like Blake Bortles, look, not the greatest quarterback in the NFL, but still good enough to manage a game. And we knew even then, in 2017, Blake Bortles wasn't the dude. It was a bad draft pick. But let's talk about some of the talent that was on that 2017 team that are not there today. All of them have been Pro Bowlers. If they weren't Pro Bowlers in 2017, they were at least Pro Bowlers at some point in their career. Leonard Fournette, obviously very famously cut in the offseason, signed by the Bucs. Yannick Ngakoue traded to the Vikings this past season and then traded again to the Ravens. They're with the Ravens right now. Malik Jackson, who's with the Eagles, and he's on the tail end of his career, but he was in his prime at that point. Calais Campbell traded to the Ravens again. Another dude, Jalen Ramsey, traded to the Rams. Excuse me, I lost it for 2 first-round picks. They still are going to reap the rewards of that. AJ Bouye cut this past offseason, signed with the Denver Broncos, and then Telvin Smith retired out of nowhere after the 2017 or 18 season. I can't remember exactly. Either way, retired out of nowhere. The linebacker who was great. Now, really on defense from that team, Malik Jackson is not Malik Jackson. Miles Jack. He got me. We'll explain that in a second. Miles Jack is the only dude on that defense that's still there. And look, I will come to the defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars for this. They are still a kind of a good defense. I'll say it. I'm willing to look. They're not great. They're a bottom 5 team in the NFL. I get that, but for being a bottom 5 team in the NFL, they have pieces. They have a good D tackle that they drafted in the first round in the 2018 draft. They have C.J. Henderson, a first round pick this past year.
He looks like he hit. Josh Allen is really good.
Josh Allen was good. Kind of had a lull in the past couple weeks, but came on strong this past week. Josh Allen's still a good player. They have defensive weapons. Their offense is actually a lot better. DJ Shark, who I will ring the flag and say I was right about that. I will always admit it when I'm wrong, but I called that. He was my number 2 wide receiver coming out of that draft, and he hit. He's a good player. They have some pieces on the offensive line that's not great, but it's good. You have Cam Robinson. You have the guard that you got from the Panthers a couple years ago. I can't remember his name. And you have other pieces on wide receiver. Your dude from this past year, their second round pick.
Laviska. I love Laviska.
Awesome player. Awesome player. And look, their quarterback isn't there, but they started at the beginning of the season. They started a former 6th round pick, dude who nobody knew how. Actually, no, they
Jake
didn't.
Luton.
I was gonna say at the beginning of the year they started a former 6th round pick, and then this past week they've started another former 6th round pick, Jake Luton, who I guarantee you, remember that name. He will be the answer to a trivia question at some point in his. I
don't know why the Jacksonville Jaguars favor Pac-12 quarterbacks, but they love him, man.
Honestly, Jake Luton wasn't that bad.
They can sling it, I guess.
Jake Luton led the Green Bay Pack or
the Jags,
led the Jacksonville Jaguars down to a touchdown at the end of the game. They needed 2 to tie it. He threw kind of a duck at the very end, which was a stupid play call. I'll say that. Like, you call that play call if you have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. You don't call that
pressure on that man.
It was like an out route it was an out route in the end zone, essentially on the goal line, and he threw it at the guy's feet. He had no chance to catch it. It was a bad throw. It was a bad play. But what else are you expecting from Jay Luton? He also had some highlight reel plays, a couple moments throughout that drive. So, oh God, that's my bad. So all of that to say, Jaguars, in our opinion, the second worst team in the NFL. We are going to close the book on it, but before we do that, we're going to talk about it, and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, no, there's still a way that they're able to end up losing out, and the Jets are due for a win at some point. We saw them kind of put up some fight this week, so if they're willing to get a win, Jags, you keep losing. Trevor Lawrence goes here. I am ecstatic because of the offensive weapons.
Pieces.
Oh my gosh, they have pieces. They have some exciting pieces. LaVisca, they line him up at running back. They put him over at wing. They'll send him in motion.
James Robinson's a good running back.
James Robinson looks like a good future running back.
And
it is also one of the biggest arguments going forward. He was undrafted. Undrafted in this year's class.
That's why.
That's the
why
argument.
I don't want to draft a first round pick.
Exactly. That's the argument in saying that if you don't see the generational Saquon vibe behind your running back, hold off. Because you can find a James Robinson and look at, no one knew the man's name coming 8 months ago. Yeah. Now, he is a must start. Next year, we're looking at fantasy at like a first, second round pick just because of the role that he's inherited.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And look,
but getting back, there's pieces.
I was going to get really off topic, so continue going.
No, there's pieces there. Trevor Lawrence, if there's a way that you can luck out and land that piece, man, it's going to be just monumental for what you can do for your franchise. As of now, doesn't look like that's a possibility. So you're going to have a top 5 pick. I would guarantee that. Penei Sewell, the offensive lineman for Oregon, really pops out for me. I'm going to be.
You don't think they go quarterback?
Going forward, man, I'm going to be high on him but because the problem is there's so much murky water when you get away from QB1.
So you got Jalen Hurts. Well, but you're a huge Hurd fan, right? You're not Hurd.
Justin Fields.
You're a huge Fields fan.
Justin Fields has one more incompletion than he does touchdown on the season.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous numbers.
Check the people Fields. He hasn't played a lot. Yeah, you have Justin Fields.
BYU quarterback, right?
Trey Lance.
Zach
Wilson's
BYU.
Kyle Trask.
And
Mac Jones. And I throw Mac Jones up there because he is consistently getting put in first-round quarterback value.
Yeah, you're right.
That's where we're at right now. Nowhere close to top 5 value at all. Yeah, I would probably go Fields. I'm a huge Fields fan. Like I said, though, I don't want to take it away from Penei. They're saying that he has the ability to make up for any quarterback that you could ever have. Anthony Munoz is his comp. That's a sure get Hall of Fame type of thing that you can have coming out of college. I mean, the value that they're saying that he can bring to a team is immense. Jags probably just still need to go quarterback, though, unless they're able to find something. What if they get Sam Darnold?
That's an example. Okay,
there are moves that they can make to where it's not that in your face quarterback.
Yeah, I get look. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I actually kind of said it, during the offseason a little bit that like I could see a world where the Jacksonville Jaguars weren't the number 1 pick, right? And we were all kind of like penciling them in for the number 1 pick. And I remember kind of thinking like, okay, look, they're not good. We know that. But again, let's compare it on a curve a little bit. We're not comparing them to the Seattle Seahawks or a great football team in general. We're comparing them to a top 5 pick, a team that's in line for a top 5 pick. You have pieces. Yeah. And you already went through it. I don't need to re-go through it. But you still have pieces. You've been drafting really fucking well. Like, as much as we want to give them shit for the players they lost, they drafted Yannick Ngakoue. They drafted Leonard Fournette, who was probably too early. They shouldn't have drafted in the first round. But, they drafted Jalen Ramsey.
They have an eye for talent.
They drafted AJ, or they grabbed AJ Bouye. They drafted Telvin Smith. They have an eye for talent. Whoever's in there, the GM making decisions, I don't think the GM needs to go. I think the head coach needs to go. I think the owner needs to lay off on the decision making, whatever's going on there from a inside the organization. organization thing that's causing these guys to want to leave. A cultural thing, yeah. I think there is an issue, but I mean, DJ Shark, 2nd round pick, awesome fucking wide receiver, right? I mean, they have talent. Look, we can say whatever we want about their quarterback situation, and ever since Blake Bortles left, there's been a huge question mark. They get Nick Foles. Nick Foles gets hurt in the first half of his first game, and this Gardner Minshew kid comes in, 6th round pick. He's not going to do anything. Well, he was good enough to be a starter, and I guarantee you he's going to be in the NFL in 10 years. I truly think he's going to have like a Fitzpatrick type of career where he goes to different teams, he gets opportunities to start here and there, and he shows the wow factor because he does have playmaking ability. We got that in the 6th round. That's a fucking steal for a quarterback in the 6th round. And then Jake Luton, again, first game last year, put his team in a situation to win late against the Texans team that isn't good either. But again, I'm not sitting here saying that he's a great pick, but you're still finding talent late. You're finding talent in the mid-rounds. You're finding talent all over the draft class. You're finding guys in free agency out of the draft that end up being your starting running back. You're able to cut the former 4th pick in the draft for a dude that you got for free. I mean, awesome.
And I applaud them for being able to finally recognize and look at it and be like, all right, it didn't, like Leonard Fournette, you had some good moments here, but we're good. Because a lot of that was the player personality. It was.
And there were other aspects.
It's just time to cut ties whenever you get to a certain point. Yeah. So the quickest way for the Jags to succeed in the future is to take Justin Fields. Yeah. Justin Fields is going to be my QB2. He is a great playmaker. He's going to be a franchise guy going forward.
Listen,
there are other options that they have.
That's fair. And look, I went through that whole thing and I kind of lost track of my point there, so I want to go back to that just for a second. I was saying all that to say you can drop a quarterback into this team right now, and I think they can be good next year.
Yeah,
like a legit.
That's why the quickest way is Justin Fields.
So that's why I would take Justin Fields over the tackle. I trust them enough to find talent later on to rebuild these guys. Look, you lost a lot of talent from 2017. You lost a lot of talent in this past offseason. You traded away talent a couple weeks ago, essentially. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 2 months ago, you traded away great talent. You can find more. It'll be okay. I think the Jags are actually in a good situation, relative to where they're at right now. I think it'll be okay. Let's ask about Doug Marrone. This is the former offensive line coach who ends up getting a shot to be the head coach. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on this, that he was the first offensive line coach to get a head coaching job since Tony Sparano was the offensive line coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And it ended up being the head. It went from offensive line coach for the Dallas Cowboys to head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He actually died. I think this past offseason was your offensive line coach for the Vikings, and unfortunately passed. I think Doug Marrone was the next guy to do that since Tony Sparano. So awesome dude, seems like a good dude. Was able to keep his job this past offseason for whatever reason. I think a lot of people thought he would be going. Where are you at with him?
No, it's not that I don't like him, the coach, and some of the stuff that he's able to do on the field. I mean, he's able to use talent. Yeah. He recognizes when he has talent and is able to get them the ball and do things as you will. They're not that bad of a team. Just finishing the book on the Jets. When we're comparing this, Jacksonville has stuff moving forward. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
But, if you're trying to do this thing with a future quarterback in Justin Fields, most likely, I think it's just a good, healthy start to get a different. Yeah, exactly.
I do agree.
Just get a different coach, Doug Marrone. It's not that you have been astronomically bad like an Adam Gase or Billy O'Brien kind of situation, but you were given this little shot, if you will, after the AFC Championship game. Didn't go your way. Time to cut ties and just move on.
Yeah. I do agree. I think that at the end of the day, that's the decision.
It's a harsh business, man. You can't just get every nice guy that. Yeah.
But if you're if you have an opportunity to get an Eric Bieniemy, if you have an opportunity to get one of these, honestly, the OC for Brady, the OC for the Panthers right now, he's going to be up for a head coaching job sooner rather than later. It might be this offseason that somebody pulls the trigger on that. I hope that he gets one more year as an OC in the NFL.
Did you say Brady is in the Bucs?
No. Joe Brady for the Panthers.
I thought you were talking about the Bucs offensive coordinator. I'm pretty sure it's Byron Leftwich.
But Brian Leftwich is another dude who he's going to be in line there. I don't think it'll be 2020 off season, but I do believe it'll happen.
McDaniels is the guy for me. If you were able to get him in Jacksonville,
is that going to happen though? Because he's already said no.
We've hinted at it for years. It's not going to happen. He is officially going to stick in that job until Foxborough becomes open, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't want to. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. I do want to go one more place, and I want to go to the 2017 offseason. You just lost to the Patriots. You were in the top 4 of NFL teams. You got to remember, this is not that long ago. I mean, this was the year that you have not Matt Castle. The Vikings lost Case Keenum lost the NFC Championship for the Vikings, and you were looking at the championship, and I remember like memes coming up that it was Case Keenum, Bortles, Nick Foles, and Tom Brady. And it was like 3 backups. All 3 backups are out of the league right now. So 3 backups in a future GOAT, or the GOAT, future Hall of Famer. Sorry. But either way, you're in that situation. You have a great team around you. You really do. You have an awesome, awesome team. Got to remember, they still had Allen Robinson at the time. They still had, granted, I think he was hurt for the 2017 season. I could be wrong about that. Might have been 2018. Either way. And Blake Bortles is in the contract year, and you sign him to a 3-year, $64 million contract that offseason. Can you imagine what would have happened if they would have decided to go any other direction and said, hey, we are a really good football team. We were really close with Blake Bortles. But if Blake Bortles would have been a player, if we would have dropped any top 25 quarterback in the NFL, I will go that far. Any top 25, maybe even top 30 quarterback in the NFL, I think it would have been better. I think they would have been able to do a little bit more, maybe even beat the Patriots and face the Eagles in the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that what the Jags were able to bring to the table, I would say Jags would have had a Super Bowl title under there, and it would have forever changed.
It would have changed
those
everything.
Names that we have on our screen that have left and departed since.
Everything.
It's weird to think. You look at like you said, 2017 offseason, the 2 most popular picks, not favorite, but popular picks for the returning Super Bowl champs, Jacksonville Jaguars.
I loved the Jags that offseason.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Those were the teams that were like, man, they're here. Their system has worked. They are good, gritty, defensive teams with we can just get it done offensive football. And look at where we're at now.
So I'm going to go down a huge fucking rabbit hole. And this is why we only put a couple because we haven't even got to TUA, and I have so much on TUA. But all right, so this is the rabbit hole, right? Take me back to 2017 offseason, right? That was the year there were so many quarterbacks available, and we didn't know what was going to happen. Case Keenum was with the Vikings. You have the 49ers, who they had just hired Kyle Shanahan, and they are looking for their next quarterback, right? And actually, no, I'm right on this. Okay, so that year, that 2018 year, they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo instead of what the conventional wisdom was that they were going to instead of trade 2017 year, after 2017 they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo during that season instead of waiting till the offseason and getting a Kirk Cousins. That was the conventional wisdom. Everyone was connecting dots between the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan had been there with Washington. They were going to take Kirk Cousins and put him into their system, and that would have probably worked really well for Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins can run that system to a dime. Instead, Jimmy Garoppolo becomes available. Tom Brady says, hey, I'm not quitting. Bill Belichick is forced to trade Jimmy Garoppolo somewhere, gets some value, gets a 2nd-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. They make that trade. They don't need Kirk Cousins, so now it's the Vikings and the Jets that are in the conversation for Kirk Cousins. What if the Jaguars would have put their hat in the ring?
Man, you talk about
I'm just saying, like,
butterfly effect of stuff that just changes the game. If Kirk Cousins, you've made your effect. Yeah.
This is the butterfly effect, and I'm going deep in the weeds. And if you want to you can call me out right now. And if you want to call me out in the comments for saying this is crazy, that's fine. But if Tom Brady would never have been gotten accused for the Deflategate, right, in the Colts game where he was accused of deflating the balls, and he ended up missing 4 games of that 1 year, and Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and starts those for 2.5 games.
No one else would have seen the promise.
Nobody would have seen Jimmy Garoppolo as a starter. No one would have seen. He played so fucking well in those couple games that everyone said, "Oh shit, that is the next dude."
Jacoby Brissett played well enough in one of them to go get a job.
Exactly. Yeah. So what if that never would have happened? What if Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't as a prized backup quarterback as he was in that 2017 season? What if the 49ers never trade for him? What if Tom Brady doesn't make it clear that he's not going anywhere? What if Bill Belichick wins the argument and says, hey, we'd rather have the 24 or 5-year-old Jimmy Garoppolo than the 40-year-old Tom Brady? all of those things that happened because of Deflategate. I'm going back to that, and then obviously other decisions are made. 49ers get that. The Jaguars still would have fundamentally had to make a decision. Hey, we don't want to keep going with Blake Bortles, but things could have been so fucking different.
It's weird, man.
It's so crazy.
That honestly might be one of the most monumental off seasons of events that we have seen with Jimmy G going to the Niners. Now people are arguing about a dead cap cost that it would take to get rid of Jimmy G out of there.
He's been hurt the past two of the 3 years.
Minnesota handcuffed to Kirk, looking at a $40 million future deal going down with him. All these different areas, different teams, and their futures were affected by this. Jacksonville, go get a quarterback. They should have acknowledged earlier instead of giving Blake Bortles a shut up. You made it. You got us to the AFC Championship. Not even got us. You were able to manage the offense while we got to the AFC Championship game. Yeah, things could have played out different.
Yeah, no,
that's why
I'll go one step further. They got to the AFC Championship in spite of Blake Bortles being not that good of an NFL quarterback. He just wasn't.
They leaned on the run whenever they had to, and that defense was just
he could make like 3 throws.
Historically great.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I'll go a fucking step further. What if Kirk Cousins would have taken the Jets instead of the Vikings for whatever? Because Kirk Cousins made a decision based on money, but the Jets did offer him more than the Vikings.
Yeah.
So what if he goes? The Vikings are now in a situation where they need a quarterback. Either they stick with Case Keenum or they go in a different direction. Either way, they're at the back of the draft looking for a quarterback, and the Jets are in a situation where they don't need a quarterback. They don't have to draft Baker Mayfield because that 2018 draft was coming. That was the Baker Mayfield draft, if I'm not mistaken.
The Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, all those guys, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying, like, there's so many fucking different things that could have happened.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking this Vikings fan what he would have thought about it, not going to sit here and debate our whole moves and whatnot. Yeah. Kirk, we're on year 3. Yeah. We have 1 playoff performance. We have 1 season where we did not make the playoffs, and currently we have 3 wins? 3 and 5, 2 and 5.
3 and 5, yeah.
3 and 5, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, okay. All right. We went long, 46 minutes, talking about 2 teams that have no impact in this season.
And that's why we're closing the book on them.
We're closing the book.
Sorry,
Between
Jags.
the Pylons. That's what we do here. And we went crazy conspiracy theories. We went all over the board. You ready to close the book?
Close it.
The book is closed.
Bye, Jags.
We are going to be talking about Tua Tagovailoa. Can I just have a second? Can I just
Take
be a
all
fan
the time you need.
just for a fucking second? We're going long on this video. The fucking Miami Dolphins are back. We're good. We're actually good for a change. Holy shit, we're good.
His year's coming.
Are you kidding me? We have a quarterback.
You should be happy.
We have a fucking quarterback. He made plays.
He did?
He was a motherfucking dude.
You beat the Cardinals.
I'm so fucking excited.
You beat the Cardinals.
We beat the fucking Cardinals. We are a good team right now. We're 5-3. We're 4 wins in a row. Our defense is making plays every single week. Brian Flores took a team that had nobody. We had nobody a year ago today. We had a Josh Rosen who was fucking nothing. We had a fucking Fitzpatrick who was just a dude who had been on 8 other fucking football teams. We had no talent anywhere. I implore you to give me 3 football players that were on our team a year ago. We had nothing. And Brian Flores stuck with the plan. We ended up winning 5 games last year because Brian Flores is a fucking dude. He is one of the best coaches in the NFL already. I'll say it. And I'm a fan right now. And call me biased. I don't care. And then we go into the draft. And we were in tank for Tua mode. But oh wait, Joe Burrow came out and did crazy things. And Tua got hurt. And we're in the 5th pick in the draft. And we're sitting there saying, oh, we're going to take Justin Herbert. We're going to take Justin Herbert, and we dared the Chargers to go and trade ahead of Tua. And look, the analyst in me says, hey, it wouldn't have been that bad if we took Justin Herbert. They're both really fucking good as of right now. Either way, it doesn't matter. Our plan was always to take Tua. It was always a plan to take Tua, and we fucking took him. And look, I'll be the first to fucking raise my hand and say, hey, I didn't believe in the pick. Not that I didn't want us to take Tua. At the time, you remember this. Yeah. I was saying Tua over Herbert at the time, and I was probably wrong about that too because Herbert's fucking awesome. Either way, let me go back to being a fan for a second. We fucking take Tua. We wait the time. We give him a chance to learn to get perfectly healthy, and we put him in after the bye, and he doesn't have to do shit last week. He didn't have to do anything. He had to complete like 3 throws. And then this past week, look, we brought him along. we gave him good opportunities.
Dream scenario for how you want to plug him in.
And we fucking put him in a situation where he was going to have to go down and score a touchdown to tie the game against the Arizona Cardinals. We were down 21-31, or 24-31, excuse me, down to touchdown. We go down, score a touchdown. Our defense gets a big stop. We go down, score a field goal, and then our defense gets another big stop, puts him at a field goal range to tie the game at 51 yards, and Gonzalez misses, or actually it was right down the line, and just didn't have enough leg for it for whatever reason, and we win. And we now have a quarterback that is, I mean, honestly, he might be the best quarterback that we've had since our
Chad Pennington.
I was gonna go longer. I'm not gonna say it. Y'all probably know what I was gonna say. I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say it, but I'm not gonna say it.
So
let me bring it back. Let me put my headphones back on, and I'll start being an analyst again. I did go back and I watched every snap from Tua. I studied the film. I really, really got into it, and I truly tried to go into it as a look. I lost my fucking mind watching the Dolphins-Cardinals game. I lost my mind when we won that game when he missed that field goal, and I got to be a fan. It was awesome, and it was the first time in 3 or 4 years that I can remember being a fucking football fan for my team and loving it as much as I loved it last week. It was a great moment. Whatever happens the rest of the year, I know we're not going to be a playoff. Maybe we get to the playoffs, but we're not going to be a contender in the playoffs. Whatever. That was enough for me to enjoy this season so much. We've already won this season.
The wins that you've accumulated at this point is already a win.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
It's amazing. And look, we have a good run, and we can get into that later on as far as our record, or as far as the rest of our season. That was the tough part of our season. We have a nice little run of teams that we get to play. Regardless, let's go into the Tua conversation. Talk about Tua. I'm back. I'm an analyst again. I'm sorry. You had to give me that moment, man.
No, it's been
too long.
A decade in the making since y'all have been competitive and relevant to where you're able to look towards the future and saying that, man, we may actually have the answer at quarterback. We may have found our Kyler Murray, our Josh Allen, our Deshaun Watson, any of those young, bright future names. Yeah. Now the Dolphins are at one of those teams that they got it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
We're on game 2, super early.
Yeah.
But you got to look at the things that you have seen and the way that we're already saying Herbert is hit, Burrow is hit. I mean, he's only played 4 more games than that. You like what Tua was able to do, his ability to scan the field, his ability to do exactly what is asked of him and make guys around him better. It worked great. Yeah. I liked it.
All right, so we're going to break this down because we're going to break down Tua, and honestly, I might add some clips of Tua and make this a YouTube video, so if we do that, that'll be awesome. So I want you to kind of play inspector with me a little bit and ask me as many questions as you think. I have my notes, but I feel pretty confident that I know what happened in this game, and I know what happened with Tua specifically. And first couple things I want to talk about. The Dolphins did an amazing job. They did an amazing job of putting Tua in a situation to do exactly what he was really good at in college, right? What was Tua really good at in college? Deep throws, first of all. He was one of the best deep throw players. My dog's barking right now. Sorry, guys. I think the trash man's here. He was one of the best deep throw football players in college that I probably had ever seen. Like he had just a beautiful deep ball. We can agree on that. Just threw the rainbow every single play. He was amazingly accurate on the run. He was great at the bootlegs, and he was really good at making quick reads, and he was very, very good processor, right? He that was the big thing coming out. Like, he was so smart. He was so good at making the right decisions with Alabama, and he was a great quarterback in college, right? He got to do all of that. He was asked to do bootlegs, and he was asked to throw the ball down the field, and he did both things very, very well. That was like the main thing that they came in the first half. That was pretty much all you saw from Tua. That's all you saw. You saw a lot of bootlegs where they cut the field in half, and they asked him to make 1, 2, 3 reads really, really quickly, and he's really good at that. He's really good at see open player, throw to open player like that, and he's also really good at anticipatory throws and things like that. We'll get to that in a second. And also, when he was in the pocket and he was asked to make some throws, push the ball down the field. Yeah. We have a 6'3" receiver in Preston Williams, at least we did before he got hurt in this game, and we have Devontae Parker, who's a great deep ball threat as well. Push the ball down the field with these two guys, throw the ball deep. He had amazing accuracy down the field. He was able to just drop the ball in the bucket. I mean, already I would argue a top 15 deep ball passer in the NFL from what I've seen in one game, essentially, because he didn't have to do it at all last week.
I'm not even gonna go into it. Yeah,
I can keep going. I didn't know if you had any questions about that. Right?
I was processing the top 15 deep ball thrower after one game, and I'm glad that we have the hype around it. And it looked awesome. I'm
just beautiful deep ball thrower.
No,
look,
exactly,
that might be too far.
No,
so
you're good. You're good. You're happy.
I am happy. Look, okay, so you're right.
Me being the prober here, the one asking the questions, I'll start with the biggest question that was Tua, and it was the injury. When it came to mobility and everything and the way that he was able to athletically make plays, it was awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you went there because that was, look, I will fully admit that I went into the past offseason, Tua was my third quarterback on the board, right? And I wasn't super big on him. I had serious questions about his ability to translate to the NFL, right? And already, I think I was wrong, although there are still questions about his ability.
It's a good way to be wrong.
Yeah, I'm fine being wrong. Look, I'm going to be wrong sometimes. Fuck it. I'll own what I think. I'll explain the way I think the best I can. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That is what it is. I have no problem with that. I don't have an ego when it comes to this. I just tell you guys what I think. So with all that being said, that was the thing I was probably the most impressed by, were the moments, there were two plays in particular that I can think of where he specifically had to get out of the pocket was collapsing, guys were coming, and he had to make a play with his legs and either extend the play and throw the ball or make a run. There was one play where he's about to be, like, there was a wide open blitzing gap, the linebacker's coming, dude with long hair, I can't remember his name, for the Cardinals, is about to tackle him. He makes a nice little move in the pocket's collapsing, he runs, jukes a dude out of his shoes and is able to run for a first down on a 3rd and 4. Awesome play. And there was another play where he rolls out and it looks like he's about to be tackled like for a serious 15-yard loss, and he's able to get out of it somehow and ends up resetting and able to throw the ball down the field. Two awesome plays from Tua, and I seriously appreciate both of them. And it was the biggest thing. It was the biggest question of can he make plays when things weren't working around him. And that was my 100% biggest issue coming out of college, because in Alabama, there were not a lot of opportunities for him to show that he could do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't even he showed that he couldn't do
it.
That. Yeah. It wasn't that he showed that he couldn't do it. My biggest issue was that I never saw him do it, or I didn't see him do it enough to believe that he could do it in the NFL level. And a lot of that is he had Alabama around him. He had multiple first-round picks on the offensive line, and that's not a euphemism. That's a fact.
For you.
Yeah. And then he had multiple first-round picks, maybe 4, possibly 4, definitely 2 first-round picks at the wide receiver position. So I did question things like that, and I think somewhat fairly, but it has been so amazing, his transformation from the college to the NFL game. He's first of all doing everything he was really good at in college, he's doing it in the NFL, and really he looks like a seasoned vet at times, being able to go through his progressions like in the pocket. He wasn't asked to do it a ton. The Dolphins, they didn't handicap him. They brought him along slowly, especially throughout the first half. There weren't a lot of plays where I was like, ooh, that was a great throw. There were some moments where there was a great throw or, a great play, but a lot of it was like, oh, here's a play on a silver platter. All you have to do is throw the ball accurately on the move in a bootleg or something, and we know he can do that. We knew he could do that in college. We knew how accurate he was. So things like that. But the things that I wasn't sure about, the things that were off schedule or, sitting in the pocket, making reads, so good anticipatory throws. I mean, there was one play down the sidelines. I think it was actually an option. I think he actually audibled out of this. It looked like they were going to run the ball. They were in a running stance, and he hikes the ball and just throws an anticipatory throw, a back shoulder throw to his wide receiver. And I mean, just a perfectly placed football, and the receiver makes a great catch. Great play. But anticipatory throw, check. Yeah, making his reads, like I at least one play, probably 2, where at least one where I 100% saw him go 1, 2, 3 throw, like made it to his 3rd read. And there was another play where I was like, I'm pretty sure he made it to his 3rd read. That might have been his 2nd read, and I wasn't 100% sure. But either way, great at reading it. I mean, his ability to maneuver the pocket was awesome. His ability to make off schedule throws was awesome. And granted, small sample size for those aspects, off schedule throws specifically, there was only a couple times where he could do it. But at the end of the day, you put a rookie quarterback in his 2nd start ever in a situation where he has to go down the field at the end of the 4th quarter. There's no more bootlegs. You can't do that anymore. There's no more easy throws. The defense has gotten onto all that, and they've stopped all that. They're taking that away. You have to go be a quarterback. You have to go be a playmaker. And can you go and score a touchdown when your team needs it? And he did that. And to me, that is the ultimate check mark. And granted, I hate the stat where it's like comeback play, or, how many comeback wins do you have? Because I think some of that is dependent on the team.
Yeah.
But in situations like this where I can look and say, okay, 4 minutes left in the game. You are down by a touchdown, and the defense you don't get to do any of the things that you got to do for the entire game, right? You don't get to do the bootleg. You don't get to have these easy screen passes. You have to push the ball down the field, and he did that. It was awesome.
Opening legacy script went very well, and I'm going to ask you one more question, and it was about what happened after he had that drive, and after the Dolphins had a great defensive stop. It was him getting the game ball. So he got the game ball, and then he goes right up to the coach, Brian Flores, and gives it to him. How does it make you feel knowing that it kind of, you have the answer? You have the coach.
It feels like we do.
Who put the quarterback in the right spot to succeed. Then you have the quarterback who had the limelight, had the good moment, that's your game ball, and goes and gives it back to the guy who kind of fed into him.
Yeah. Look, it's
good going forward.
It's awesome. And look, I know on this podcast I say a lot of things that are maybe hyperbolic at the time, and I say a lot of things that are bold, I guess, and that's fine. And I know this is going to be one of those situations where, look, in a couple weeks I might even be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. It really feels like we have this has the potential to be a Tom Brady Belichick level of combination. Maybe not the Super Bowls in the winning history. That's historic. That'll probably never happen again. But as far as a coach who I have already seen be able to work with lack of talent, to be able to maneuver his scheme around the players that he has. I've seen that check. I've seen a coach that can handle a locker room really well, check. And I've seen a coach that is a player's coach, but also a schematics genius. I mean, the past couple things that they've done defensively against these teams, which we're not going to get into, it's been awesome. It's been really, really cool to see. So with all that said, I think Brian Flores is the guy. And then with Tom Brady, look, I urge Tom Brady with Tua Tagovailoa. I had questions. I had questions, but at the end of the day, he is so fucking accurate. He makes such quick decisions. The moment is not too big for him. The game is not going too fast at all. You can tell already that he is boom, 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 throw. Boom, 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 throw. And he can, and the other part of it that I wasn't sure about, two things actually. One, his ability, and I've already kind of mentioned it, his ability to make plays off schedule. To realize, oh shit, I'm getting blitzed, I'm hot, let me juke this blitzer out and run for a first down on 3rd and 4 when there's a either nickel corner or safety barreling down on me and I have to make an awesome play, and he literally sets him up like he's going this way and then jukes out. I mean, it was awesome. It's great. It was just a great play by him. And then the other thing was that, again, that I either didn't see, and this is probably the most egregious thing that I think I missed from college, because I didn't go back and look at his college film, but I assumed that it was probably there and I just overlooked it or didn't see it or didn't appreciate it for what it was. His ability to drive the ball on intermediate throws, because I knew his deep ball is awesome. We knew his deep ball was awesome, but there was always Tua didn't have the biggest arm coming out of college. He had the 3rd biggest arm, probably, maybe even the 4th coming in his draft class, right? As far as arm strength. But still, his ability to drive the ball on, dig routes, curl routes, 15 yards down the field from the right hash or something like that, and throw it on a dime accurately and get it out. And, it's a little I say it all the time, piss missile. He throws a piss missile to Devontae Parker on a dig route and, on 3rd and 9. There's one play that's exactly what happened. And it was just like, holy shit, he can drive the fucking ball. And that's not something I appreciate. That's not something that I saw. And maybe that's just, I probably just missed it, to be honest with you. That's on me for missing and not appreciating it. And that's probably something everybody else saw and something that I just missed. But it's been awesome. It just is. I
think it's good going forward, man.
I'm excited.
Tua time, success. We will see coming into next week. I know we'll evaluate him again as we do all the young quarterbacks, and we'll see where it is going forward. But it's looking good.
Yeah. All right. Let me switch this around and ask you, if you're just as I know you didn't study Tua, but you've been following the NFL very closely. You have the top 3 quarterbacks, right? You have Burrow, Tua, and then Herbert. Just as the talent of the quarterback, don't take the team around it. Don't take anything like that. But the talent of the quarterback, who would you rather have right now?
Burrow.
I agree with that.
That's
the right answer.
Burrow is a generational talent. You can have the argument. Right now it goes to Herbert only based on sample size between him and Tua off of what we've seen. I like their abilities. Both of them are super promising. Tua, if you keep doing what you did week 1 for 4 more weeks, you pass Herbert, what he's been doing from his weeks on. You know.
Yeah. So this is what I'll say, and a part of this is, we always talk about in the draft, or at least in the offseason, that as talented as players can be, a lot of it has to do with the scheme matching the player. And I will say this, and I do believe this, that Herbert is so much better than the scheme around him right now.
He is,
and I really believe that. And then Tua
just
just
goes to
matches
show for that record late in games.
Yeah, and then Tua matches the scheme so fucking well, like it's just perfectly, and it's been on a silver platter so far. I think it's Burrow as of right now. I still think it is Burrow, Herbert, and then Tua as far as true talent. And granted, Tua can close that gap. This is a 1-game sample size, so it's tough to put Tua ahead of those other guys right now. But granted, we're in week 9. We're in the middle of it. The offseason we might be saying different things. I absolutely agree. It's really looking like, and I know it's early, but it's really looking like we have 3 legit quarterbacks that are going to be starters in the league for a long time.
Household names, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. And from the same draft class is what I was saying. And shit, we don't even have my number 2 quarterback, who's Jordan Love. We're going to see what comes. Eventually, he's going to get a chance to play. He's a first-round pick. I mean, it'll happen one day.
Down the road. That's what they did with Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a first-round pick,
Listen, absolutely agree. All right, let's move on. I'm sorry for the people that aren't Dolphins fans and don't care about Tua, and I had a little bit of a fangasm there.
Yeah, what a barn burner of a pod today. We talk Jets, Jags, and Dolphins. We do it differently here between the Pylons.
Yes. All right, let's get into these picks, right?
Yeah.
And I want you to go. I've been talking too much. I want you to start off.
So we're gonna open up with Thursday Night Football. We have the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans. The line, Titans are a 1.5-point favorite. Over under 48.5 points. I'm going to take the Titans on the pick. I'm going to take the Titans on the spread. I think coming off of a shortened week going into Thursday Night Football, these really good grinded out teams kind of can get some things going. I think Tennessee's due for it. They're going to get it.
Yeah, I actually agree with you right down the wire. I think this is going to be a great game. It should be anyway. The matchup should be great. I'm very excited. I think the Colts can absolutely win this football game. I'm taking the Titans to win, and it's a 1.5 cover. I'll take the Titans to cover as well. I do think this is a coin flip. I really do. I can see the Titans losing this game. I can see the Colts blowing them out. I can see the Titans blowing the Colts out. I can see this going a couple different ways. I think it really I don't know.
That's why I said I give it to the Titans on a short week, knowing your mentality and the way that you like to play. Just give it to Derrick Henry. Yeah. A prop bet you can look at, Derrick Henry, 16.5 carries.
Oh, he's gonna crush that. I would feel like
there's in your world, if the Colts jump out on him, you can't run the ball.
That's true. I would think that the line would be higher than 16.5, but I like that. I think
it's
so.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to bet on him hitting over that.
That's what I'm saying. That line is always crazy for Derrick.
So you think of it, because we have to come up with one, and then we can make that our drinking bet. I'm willing to do that.
Okay. Look, I think that the line would be 21.
21.5 then, and I'll take the under for Derrick Henry carries.
I was saying what I think the line will be. I don't want to bet on 21.5. That's a lot of carries.
That's my point.
All right, so we won't move on that. The one other thing I want to say is with this game, when I was like trying to make my picks and decide, I was kind of going through every level of the team, right? And you kind of have to generalize when you're talking about this, because if you get too down into the weeds, you're gonna way overthink it, and you're never gonna predict these games perfectly. Yeah. And I was looking at it coaching. Okay, I like both coaches pretty well. That's a wash. And you go quarterback. I think Tannehill's the better quarterback. But as far as offense in general, I think Titans are probably the better offense, but it's close. But then defense, the Colts have a much better defense than the Titans offense. I think what I'm saying with all that is I do think it's kind of a wash, and when you really go down position group by position group, I think it is pretty close. I really do. As far as a prop for me, I will say Zach Pascal over 3.5 carries, only if T.Y. Hilton is still out. And that's my pick. I do think this is going to be a down-to-the-wire game. Zach Pascal, 4 catches. 3.5 would be my line. If the line is 3.5, I will take the over at 4 or 5 catches for Zach Pascal. And I'm going to write that down.
All righty.
And we'll go on to the next one.
We have the Buccaneers going to play the Carolina Panthers, coming off from an exciting performance. A loss, but still exciting, going down to the wire with the Chiefs. Panthers are 4.5-point underdogs here. Over-under set at 50.5. I'm going to take the Bucs. It was an abysmal performance with Tom Brady and the Bucs going against the Saints. I think it comes down to just Sean Payton and the Saints having his number. That's what it is. He was going into that game with 7 interceptions thrown on the year. Now you have 5 thrown to the Saints alone. out of that.
5 interceptions in that game?
Both matchups.
Oh,
week
okay.
1 he had 2.
Gotcha. He had 3 still.
Yes, it's
Wow.
been pretty ugly.
I didn't watch the second half at all.
Maybe not 3. 4 out of, but either way, 4 out of your 7
that's crazy
interceptions
either
going to
way,
one
yeah.
team. This team has his number. I mean, it's just an area that he's been struggling in. I think he's going to be able to get it right in this division game against the Panthers.
Crush the over. There's no fucking way Tom Brady and the Bucs go lose 2 in a row. I'm sorry. I just their offense is too good. They're going. I think they came into this game a little bit too hyped up. They ate the cheese a little bit
They were
far
putting
as
them
like
as a top 3 team.
everybody picked the Bucs to win this game, and the Saints felt disrespected, and the Bucs felt like they were on top of the world. I know that's too easy of a generalization, but I do believe that's somewhat of what happened. The Bucs are much better than the way they played against the Saints last week, and I think the Bucs, they got fucking embarrassed. There's no way they don't come out and absolutely crush the Panthers. I don't think this is close. I will crush the over, and I want to bet on this. I'll be honest with you, I do.
Yeah, and I want to lock it.
Let's lock it.
Yep.
All right, and our locks have not been pretty the past couple weeks, so we don't
we're
want to
slipping on that. We're trying to do better. It's one of those things where sometimes we just are having stuff.
Yeah,
just
it is what it is.
Man.
All right, I'm gonna make up a line right now. I want the over on whatever the receptions are for Mike Davis. I'm gonna say the receptions are like at 4.5. I want the over. I think the Panthers are gonna be behind late. I think
McCaffrey's gonna be out.
McCaffrey's gonna be out, so Davis is gonna be the starter again. I'm gonna say Davis probably gets 3 or 4 throughout the first 3 quarters, and then like 3 or 4 in the fourth quarter alone. I'm taking the over. I think the line should be probably 4.5, and I will crush the over there.
I would too. I mean, the way that they utilize that running back in space out there, it's good. Let's go on. Texans, Browns. Browns 3-point favorite coming off of a bye week. The line is set at 53.5 points. And I'm kind of surprised in saying this. Well, not really, I guess, the Texans, but you usually hate the Browns. I'm taking the Browns on the spread. And I'm really ready to see this team come off of a bye week and get going because I still think they are a good team that's not getting enough credit.
Sorry, nothing's working for me right now. Whatever. Hopefully, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this pod to remember what we were saying with these props because I actually go back and bet them. All right, so I absolutely agree with you. We agree across the board. I think the Browns win this game. Texans are not a good football team right now. They're the fighting Deshaun Watsons. They almost lost to the Jags last week, and I hate doing that, comparing one game to another because it's totally different. I think the Browns are coming back. They're going to have Chubb back. Their offense, their running game in general should be better. For whatever reason, I mean, I don't get it, but Kareem Hunt wasn't able to carry the load as a runner. I think Kareem Hunt's a great running back. Maybe they just, they use Kareem Hunt in a different way, and they asked him to do what Chubb does, and it just didn't work. Chubb's a beast. Chubb's an absolute beast. I think he's a difference maker in this game. I think the Texans cannot stop the run. I think the Browns win this game. I think they win it, pretty comfortably. I think, at the end of the day, it's Deshaun Watson. He probably will come back and make it close to the end. That's just what he does. But I feel confident. 3 points? Yeah, I feel good about that.
3 points.
All right. Do you have a prop there? Anything you think about the top of your head?
I think a guy that comes to mind is it Rashad Higgins?
Higgins, yeah.
I would
burned
look,
by that last week.
I would look for if he's kind of getting disrespected in the reception area because we have Odell Beckham coming out. Mm-hmm. Jarvis, of course, we know he's going to get his numbers and he's going to be probably the favorite bet. I think Higgins might have something to look at later on.
Let's say over 2.5.
Yeah, and right? I would take that.
You take that. So granted, it might be higher than that. Okay, so I was gonna say I don't know what we're guessing the line and we're kind of picking the line. So we go back when the line shows up because the props aren't there yet. Yeah. They're not out yet. But when they do come out, now at least we have somewhere a starting point, right? And because this pod usually comes out Wednesday night, Thursday morning, somewhere in that ballpark, depending on how lazy I am.
It's good because that lets us know we say 2.5, 3.5. If it comes out that it's 2.5, 3.5. Well, what are we going to do?
We're going to fucking take that shit. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Eagles, Giants, another barn burner in the NFC East. So excited. I am taking the Eagles to win this game. It's 3.5 point line for the Eagles. We're both agreeing on this. I don't feel confident in this. I think this is a little bit of a coin flip. I think the Giants, look, they had the Eagles number a couple weeks ago, and it was a Evan Ingram drop pass away from the Giants beating the Eagles a couple weeks ago. Now they get to face them again. Eagles are coming off a bye week. I do think the Eagles win this game. I think they win by 4 or more points, but I was very, very close to saying the Giants would cover 3 points. I really do think it's going to be close. Giants have played every team close, and I think the Giants are Man, they feel like what the Dolphins were last year, and maybe I'm obviously I'm biased because I am a Dolphins fan, but just like looking from the outside looking in, Giants are close. I do think they have the head coach of the future, and I think they're a couple pieces away from being really, really competitive.
Yeah, they just beat Washington.
Yep.
They have an early win against some team that I can't think off the top of my head. 2-point loss to the Buccaneers on a really, really close game that no one saw coming. Mm-hmm. And you're coming in looking at an Eagles team that we don't know with the way this division is going to shape up. Mm-hmm. I have the Eagles just because the Eagles should win this game. Yeah. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be close. Wouldn't actually put my money on this. No. But if the Giants pull this upset, the momentum going forward behind Joe Judge and the team, man, they could take this division. I'm serious. They really could.
My thing is not working at all. All right. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. Anything else on this game? Do you have a prop that you like?
Nothing off the top of my head.
I don't have anything on this one.
Weird to go with it, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, man, maybe a Travis Fulgham over 50 yards, but Travis Fulgham's gonna get Bradbury, who's been playing great. I don't know. I'm not gonna put a prop here. I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'm not gonna rush it. Next game, Washington goes to Detroit to face the Lions. We do not have a spread on this because we don't know the quarterback for either team. Yeah. We don't know if the Lions quarterback's gonna be there. Matthew Stafford might be out this game. We're not sure. He was looking to be out all week last week and then came back last second. And then for Washington, we're pretty sure they're going to play Alex Smith, but there's not a line out, so I guess they're waiting to see what happens with that. Either way, I'm taking the Lions to win this game. Don't care what the line is.
Yeah, I got the Lions as well. Washington, they'll be able to put something up, but Matt Stafford to go out there and take care of it.
All right, and I'm going to tell you guys, this is a hack, right? I'm going to be putting big money on this. Whatever the McKissick line is, whatever the McKissick receiving yards line is, bet the over. I don't care what it is.
His usage rate is through the roof.
He is getting 5 to 6 receptions, and last week it was at like 11 yards, right? So whatever it's going to be, it's not going to fucking blow up. It's not going to be like 24 yards or something crazy like that. It's going to be like probably 18 yards. 18.5 is what. Take the over. Smash the over. He is getting 8 to 9 targets because that's what their offense is. You got to think this is the same head coach that had McCaffrey getting 60, 70 targets last year. Targets, not receptions. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but they target the receiver a lot, or the running back a lot, especially on third downs, and that's what McKissick is. He's the third down receiver. They dump it off very, very quickly. I believe that he will get a lot of receptions on a lot of yards. I think it'll easily be 25 to 30.
There you go. And the line won't be put at that. It's probably going to be like 12 or something.
That's probably what it's going to be.
That's why I go do that. Yeah, John's trying to make you money here, guys, so listen to him.
Yeah, McKissick. Yeah, I made a lot of money off that. And Gibson. I made a lot of money off both those running backs. All right, next game, Jags go to Green Bay to face the Packers. Packers are favored by 13.5 points. I do think the Packers win this game. I think they probably win comfortably, but I still think the Jags cover. I think this is a 10-point game, not a 13.5. I don't believe the Packers win by 2 touchdowns. Jags have been competitive this year, so I'm taking the Jags to cover.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm taking the Jags to cover solely based on some garbage time coming back, and the Packers, they're going to get to a point where they're just okay. They're content, blowout week. You never know how it goes. That's why, it's hard to bet on 13.5 points for anyone to kind of cover.
Yeah.
Go back looking last week, we had a for sure thing, which we kind of didn't, but most people out there, Steelers and the Cowboys, 15-point line, and we saw almost a near upset on that. Don't really touch huge lines with some good, bad teams. You just never know. Weird weeks happen. Yeah. Take the Jags to cover. Packers are winning this game, though.
I got a really, really weird line for you. I get mad if I gave you 20 guesses on what I'm about to say, you would not get it. I'm taking Lutton, the Jags quarterback, under the rushing yards. Whatever the rushing yards is, it was at 7.5 last week, and he hit the over on a rush into the end zone late in the game. He hit the over on one play. But Lutton is not a mobile quarterback, but that play was a highlight reel type of play that is going to be in people's minds. I believe a lot of people will bet the over on that. I believe the line will be at like 12 or 13. I think it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark. Hopefully it's higher than that, but 12 or 13 is probably where I'll put the line. If it is in that ballpark, take the under.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he is not a mobile quarterback. He had a highlight reel play against last week, and it was against the Texans. It was a great play. It was awesome. It was fun to watch. He will not run that much. He just won't. Moving forward, next game.
Broncos, Raiders. Raiders are a 5.5-point favorite, over under 52 points. I'm taking the Raiders. I'm going to take the Broncos to keep it close in this, though. They've been showing a lot of promise. Jerry Jeudy's route running is elite. He's really showing why he got drafted where he did. Probably should have gone sooner than that. He's very talented. Drew Lock and him have a really good chemistry going forward. And, yeah, I mean, the Raiders, they're doing good. They're playing into their players' strengths a lot. They're utilizing all of their running back room.
Yeah.
Surprising. Josh Jacobs kind of more as of a fantasy floor running back for me right now. That might surprise some people saying that, but that's where it's at going forward.
They're misusing him, in my opinion.
They are.
I don't look. This is the thing that kills me for pretty much any coach, any team. I'll go to the Washington's another example of a team, but teams that have their starting running back on first and second down, and then they have their third down running back, right? So, and then they also have their 2-minute running back, who is their third down running back. But if you have a running back that can catch the ball in the backfield well, like a Josh Jacobs, like a Gibson, and I know there's other teams as example, but I'm using those as just examples right now because I've seen them do it a lot this year. When you are in crunch time, 2 minutes, go down to score a touchdown to win or lose the game, why would you not put your best player on the field when you need to win? I understand. I get that you have your third down running back. I get that.
But Josh Jacobs that role.
He's great out of the back. He's so good out of the backfield. He's so good in the passing game. He is much better than the Rashad or Jalen Rashad. Thank you, running back that you have. He's a kind of a scat back dude, but he's not going to make plays. He's not going to break a tackle and bring it upfield for 20 yards. Josh Jacobs has that ability.
Yeah, Rashad's a complimentary piece. Jacobs is a true game changer.
Josh Jacobs is so fucking good in space. So it makes no sense to me, this burned out old school logic of saying we have our 2 running backs and one running back will run on first and second down and he might catch a couple balls out of the backfield and our third down back will be a pass catching back who can that's not the way it works. You can use your running backs in creative ways. You can use your running backs however you need to. Do it in the best way to win you games. Josh Jacobs is too fucking good for that, but you're absolutely right. He's been relegated to the role he's in, and it just is what it is. It's not fantasy productive.
Not fantasy-wise, but for this game, Raiders are winning.
I agree with that. I do think I think the Chargers can win this game. Broncos. I think the Broncos can win this game. I think it will be close no matter what, and I do think the Broncos cover, just like you. I'm taking the Raiders to win, Broncos to cover. This is my prop for this game, and I want you to give me one because I think you might disagree with this. Henry Ruggs over 33 yards, right? Ruggs.
You think he's going to get the play?
I think he might. He's always an opportunity for that. I think he's going to get like 4 or 5 catches this game. I think he's going to be targeted a lot in this game. One, because the Broncos receiving core or cornerback core is not going to be able to handle a Henry Ruggs speed. It's just not. All right. And 2, because this is Henry Ruggs going up against Jerry Jeudy. There's going to be some rivalry there. You cannot tell me that Henry Ruggs, the first wide receiver off the board, despite Jerry Jeudy being the best,
they're teammates, so they love each other.
Yeah, of course, but there's a sibling rivalry. There's a teammate rivalry. I promise you, Henry Ruggs wants to score. Henry Ruggs wants to outpace Jerry Jeudy in production in this game, and I think he's going to fight and claw for that football. He's going to get opportunities. I'm saying, look, the line's been low. 33 yards is not a hard number. All right, that's a couple slant routes. That's it. So 33 is a very, very reasonable. I will take the over there.
Man, I would look at Nelson Aguilar. He's been playing awesome. He's playing like the Nelson Aguilar that they expected to get in Philadelphia and never got.
Here's the thing, and it kills me, and I don't think I really realized this with the Eagles. The Eagles always lined him up on the outside. And Nelson Aguilar has a lot of speed, and he's really good. And what they
wanted Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, they wanted to be. Not even. I don't know. You're right. You're absolutely right. Actually, I think that's what they were kind of hoping for. But Nelson Aguilar is so elusive, and he's kind of like a quick guy. He belongs in the slot, and I don't know why I didn't realize this until last week. And the announcers are actually saying I actually went back and looked at some old Nelson Aguilar just to see where he was lining up to see if the announcer was off base. And it's absolutely true. He constantly lined up on the outside with the Eagles. The Eagles were using him wrong, and he went to the Raiders, and the Raiders are like, we're going to use him as a slot receiver. Yeah, and it's worked out great. He's a great player. He's a fantasy relevant dude, and you're absolutely right. I could see that. What's the line you would give him?
I would look at the yards, not the catches. I would look at the yards. A 27.5.
Oh, the line's gonna be way over that.
45 or 50.
I think it'd be in 39 somewhere like that.
27-39 is not that big of a difference compared to like 40 or 50.
Okay, so if it's at 39, what do you take?
I take the over.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I like that. 39 over. Let's move on. Bills Cards. Cardinals face off against the Bills. I think this is going to be another great game.
Get to see two great quarterbacks go at it. And it's kind of the edge between me and you. You're the Kyler guy. I'm the Josh Allen guy.
Hey, I'm a Josh Allen dude, first of all.
Both when they hit are top 5 quarterback plays out there. I'm here for it.
I do not appreciate not being called a Josh Allen guy. I'm a Josh Allen guy.
Okay.
I'm 100%.
That's fine.
You're not a Kyler guy. I'm a Kyler guy too, but I love Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's awesome. Come on.
I can show you countless videos where we have argued over Josh Allen's ability and consistency.
Consistency I've argued about. But even this season.
I argue Kyler's down the field passing sometimes. I argue some of his decision making. There are there are arguments where I'm not wrong. Yes, the Cardinals have the number 1 offense. It's all sexy and pretty until he has a 7-point swing where he fumbles the ball in the first play, one of the first drives of the game, and the Dolphins take it to the house.
Yeah, that was a great defense. About that, that was a great defensive call by the Dolphins.
But they forget about that, don't they? They forget about that. They just get enamored by
Cardinals are winning this football game. Shot bet this motherfucker.
Shot bet this.
Shot bet this. Do you want your 2 points or you want it straight up?
Oh, I want it straight up. Give me the Bills straight up. Josh Allen in empty set. They ran that 20% of the time. He leads the NFL in passer rating, completion percentage, touchdown efficiency, and tight window throws.
Yeah.
And they ran that 20% last week. If they're smart, they'll keep coming at you with that. They'll get away from this and let the man loose. He's killing it.
Okay. We'll see. I look at that, and the reason they did that, are you saying 20% is a lot or not enough?
That's a lot compared to what they were.
I was gonna say, yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's a lot.
I do believe they did that because the Seahawks are one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and they can't defend the passing game. They just can't. And look, I think the Bills won last week for a lot of reasons. Look, their offense was awesome. They played great against the Seahawks. I don't want to take anything of that away, but also Russell Wilson did give up the ball 4 times, right? I think he had 4 turnovers.
Not an MVP-like game for him.
Yeah, so let's not, they won by 10 points, and Russell Wilson gave up the ball 4 times. Once was on the goal line. I don't remember all the other ones, but, I mean, let's slow it down.
Don't sit here and pump the brakes on Josh Allen, though.
Pump the brakes on the Bills in general, yeah. Pump the brakes on
the Cardinals in general. That's my point. Out of these 2 teams where hype is being given, one just lost to the Miami Dolphins.
Hey. You're right. Look, pump the brakes on both of them. Pump the brakes on both of them.
You're right.
There are flaws for both football
teams. Yeah, and they're in their separate conferences, so I think they're in the same middle ground, above average area. No, Buffalo, you're not competing for a Super Bowl this year. I'm sorry. Arizona, you're not competing for a Super Bowl this year.
They're both
bright days ahead of you. You're in the right direction, but yes, you're right.
They are both in that. I'm glad we agree because they're both in that same tier of they're not going to beat the best teams in their conference.
They have the ability to do so.
They can on their best.
And we saw it. We've seen Kyler at his best, his top 5 polarizing. Josh Allen at his best.
It's fucking awesome.
Got to get consistent on both areas because we can agree that Kyler had a skid there early on. Josh Allen definitely just came off of the skid.
Yeah, I mean, and look, Kyle Allen, for as good as he was last week, and really the past 2 weeks.
Josh Allen, you said Kyle.
No, I'm saying Kyler Murray, excuse me. You're absolutely right. I'm fumbling over my words. Kyler Murray, for as good as he was for the past 2 weeks, first of all, I believe he's lost the past 2 weeks. And second of all, no, he beat the Seahawks, sorry. But he's been awesome statistically. But last week, the biggest moment of the game, the last play of the game, he threw a ball that wasn't catchable.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I understand, that's so difficult to say, hey, you played great all but 2 plays, but hey, those 2 plays matter. You fumbled the ball and the ball was returned for a touchdown, and you threw an uncatchable ball on third and 3 when you were trying to go down and score a touchdown or get a field goal, and you were just on the edge of field goal range. So 3rd and 3, you throw an uncatchable ball that would have been a first down if it was thrown properly, and the kicker ends up missing. You lose the game. So it's just one of those things. I get what you're saying, and I think similar things could be said about Josh Allen, although I don't have exact examples.
We're nitpicking 2 top 10 quarterbacks.
Totally
I would say.
I'm excited. I'm glad that's our shot bet. That's going to be a good one because that's going to be a great game no matter how it goes.
Yes.
Next game, I am on the same trend. Dolphins Chargers. Dolphins are favored by 2.5 points, which second time in 2 years that we've been favored. It's awesome. And look, the past 2 weeks I've taken the Dolphins to win and the Dolphins to cover. I'm keeping it going until we lose. Dolphins are winning this game. Dolphins are covering. I'm biased. I actually do believe the Dolphins will win this game. Chargers they can't get out of their own way. I'm to the point where I think for Herbert's future, I think they should move on from Anthony Lynn. The play calling is whoever's making the play calling. At the end of the day, Anthony Lynn's that coach. He gets blamed for it. Whoever it is, they need to move on from him, because the play calling to call running plays when you are up, and granted this past week wasn't the case because they were kind of coming from behind the entire week.
It was a controversial last call.
Yeah, exactly. To throw fades on 3rd and 4th down to win the game, come on, man. You have Josh, you have a great rookie quarterback, and you're basically saying, hey, let's put this all on the receiver. It's just stupid. Whatever. I think the Dolphins win this game.
It's going to be fun to get to see both young quarterbacks go at it, and I think there's kind of the thing you mentioned with Judy and Ruggs. Yeah. There's going to be that kind of edge right here behind
huge
young talent
absolutely.
Wanting to outshow each other and kind of show the Chargers, hey, this is why you got me. Dolphins TUA, this is why you got me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're going to get to see how it plays out and how it goes. I have the Chargers winning just because I think Herbert and his ability to push the ball down the field is going to get around the Dolphins team in itself. It's going to be a really fun game to watch, though. It's going to be close.
Yeah. Hey, look, if the Dolphins win this game, are we pretty close to putting them in the Chargers in the close the book conversation?
Yeah, it would be close the book for the Chargers, but there'd be a little stamp saying it's promising going forward.
Oh,
it's
of course,
just like you said, they can't get out of their own way, man. You gotta. At the end of the day, yes, controversial late drop touchdown. Broncos comeback. You go the week before they had a comeback again. It's still an L at the end of the day. I'm sorry. And we go talking months from now. We're not talking about why they lost. We're talking about they lost, and that's it.
I will say the Dolphins have put on film the past 2 weeks the way they want to play offense, and that's a lot of bootlegs. That's a lot of controlling the game for Tua a little bit. And while I do think Tua can perform without doing that, the Chargers are going to take away the bootleg. They're going to take away, and also honestly, the Rams don't count because that game was just kind of weird and the defense took over.
Yeah.
But for Tua, he's going to have some serious pass rush. He's going to have some serious edge pass rush that he's never faced before. Joey Bosa is going to be legit. I believe Ingram's back, right? He's going to be legit. That's going to be interesting to see. I think the Dolphins pull through, but it'll definitely be an interesting matchup. It's 2.5 points is the right line in my opinion. I think this could go either way. We'll move on. Bengals Steelers. Where are you at with this?
This is one of those games that I'm going to end up changing it depending on Ben Roethlisberger's availability.
Yeah.
Both legs were kind of banged up, he said, at the end of the game. He also was just added to a COVID watch list, so we got to kind of see how that plays out going forward. I'm going to take the Steelers. I think they're going to try to look alive and come forward and be better than what they kind of put up against the Cowboys. I don't know what that was. They're still the undefeated team in the league. Yes, the Bengals are going to be able to give them a fight. Big Ben is going to determine this game for me. If he's out, Bengals win. That's why I have the Bengals covering. Steelers are a 6.5 point favorite. So
gotcha. I think Bengals win this game outright. I will say that it seriously helps that the health of Ben Roethlisberger is in question. That was a big part of this. Even if Ben Roethlisberger plays, I'm sticking with the Bengals to win this game. And it's my bold pick of the week. Every once in a while I have this. I think the matchup is going to be interesting as far as the Steelers have won a lot of games, but it's been close. It's been down the wire. Steelers are due for a loss. They're not dominating in my opinion. And the Bengals have been playing great. I believe this is going to be one of those situations where it's going to be down to the wire. I think the cover is ridiculous. 6.5 points. I will take that cover all day for the Bengals. But I do believe this is a game where it will be down to the wire, and the Bengals will be in a situation where Joe Burrow can lead them down to score a touchdown and win the game late, and I think it's happening. That's my analysis. That's where I'm going with that game. We'll move on. Seahawks Rams. We both agree on this. I think the Seahawks win this game. I think look, last week was one of those games where the Seahawks defense sucks. We all know that.
Hey, Russ can't carry him every single week, man.
Exactly. And the other part of this is, look, we know what the Seahawks offense is, but we also know what the Seahawks defense is. And it's what the Chiefs were a couple of years ago. If you have a great offense and you can go blow for blow against the Seahawks, it's going to come down to, a couple turnovers, and that's going to decide the game. Last week, I sat here and said that it is more likely that Josh Allen makes the mistake than Russell Wilson, and that's why I thought that the Seahawks win that game. And I was obviously wrong. Russell Wilson was the one that made the mistakes, and the Seahawks ended up losing that game. in this game, the Rams' offensive firepower is not there. They are not going to be good enough to go blow for blow against the Seahawks offense. That's what the Seahawks have to put away this. We are going to play balanced defense. No, the Seahawks should do what the Chiefs were doing a couple of years ago when their defense was really
realize
bad.
Your identity and win games
and fucking say, hey, we are going to put ourselves in a situation to where you're either going to make a bad decision or you're going to score on us.
Yeah.
Like play some creative, dangerous ass defenses.
With it, send some blitzes and stuff, and see if you can get the big play turnover, sack, whatever.
And say, hey,
and
look,
do what you do on offense.
You know what, Russell Wilson, you have to score every fucking time you touch the ball. It is what it is. That's where we're at now. And guess what you can do? You can score every time you touch the ball. So it is what it is. But if they commit to that style of defense, because last week they tried to be a bend don't break type of defense against a Bills offense that could move the ball very, very easily.
And the Bills love that, man.
Yeah, they're fine with it.
They will chew it and grind it up on you all day.
Because what do they have? They have a Stephon Diggs that can take any slant to the house. They have a John Ross who can take any slant to the house.
Yeah.
John Brown, you're absolutely right. John Brown who can take any slant to the house. They don't need to run the fucking ball. They'll take whatever you give them and they'll get down the field and Josh Allen will make a play and they'll score a touchdown. That's what happened. In this game, I think the Seahawks win this game. I feel confident about that.
I got the Seahawks in this, and with the Rams being a 2-point favorite, I like the Seahawks so much it's a lock.
Lock it up.
It's got to be a lock.
Lock it up.
Two cute things that I think Seattle could do to kind of help bolster that defense, and we didn't get to talk about it because it was some cuts. Time constraints really wasn't the biggest news in the world. Titans cut Vic Beasley, saved themselves some money, and the Atlanta Falcons cut Takk McKinley. I think you were buffoons, Seattle, if you don't try to put in an offer for either of these guys.
Yeah,
you have to acknowledge what you need help with. Why not take a shot in some of these guys? You know, Tack's the guy that I really think Seattle should go get. He has voiced his opinion on getting out of there.
And he knows it's the same scheme. It's the exact same scheme. He can go play in that scheme.
You can go to Seattle, and you'd be an immediate week one since you've gotten there. Productive guy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I'm the same way. I think any team that needs help on the defensive line should go get Takk McKinley. I'm a Dolphins fan. I want the Dolphins to go get him. Seahawks make more sense for Takk though, as far as like, hey, I can go be productive.
Familiarity wise, it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It makes a lot of sense. We absolutely agree. Real quick, we're trying to close this pod out, but real quick, any props that you like here?
DK Metcalf. It would be longest reception. Last week I won $60 on it. Longest reception was at 25.5 yards.
Take the over every week on that.
Take the week over every.
He's gonna hit over.
All it takes is Russell throwing one of those, the drop in the baskets.
Easy.
He throws at least 2 or 3 of them too.
Easy. Yes. That's awesome. Honestly, Tyler Lockett, if it's any lower than that, I'll take that as well.
Yes.
49ers Saints. God, how the turntables have turned. Saints are favored by 9.5 points in this game that is a home game for the Saints. I'm taking the Saints to win. The Saints will win this game. The 49ers are still, they're getting healthier, but at the end of the day, Jimmy G's not there.
Yet,
Mullins is just, he's a bottom end backup quarterback. That's just what he is. And I do believe Saints win this game. I think the 49ers keep it close. They'll keep it within 10 points. I really believe that.
Yeah, I don't. I think the Saints are winning this game. I think they're taking care of business. Jimmy G, you're not the answer. I think it's time for you to part.
Jimmy G's been hurt.
No, he's been hurt.
Okay.
I'm just saying, with the way that the offseason is going, and you give me a different
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. I get where you're going.
I'm not talking Jimmy G to Nick Mullins. No, I'm saying just, looking forward, Trey Lance to the 49ers gets me hard as hell, bro. Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's good. So looking forward, Saints are taking care of this game. They're coming off of, they're really starting to heat up right now.
Yep.
And for me, looking forward at my Super Bowl picks, Chiefs Saints. Let's run it.
Let's run it. I love it. All right, and I will say for prop bets, if you're thinking about taking like your 49ers running back and you're like, ooh, 49ers running back over on yards, don't fucking do that.
Take the under.
Don't, because you don't know who the running back's going to be. I did it last week and I got burned. I lost a good bit of money on that. It is what it is. It happens. But I thought Hasty would be the dude, and he was not the dude. It just is what it is. That's the 49ers running offense. Beyond that, I'll take the under on Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders, I think, is going to be slowly edged out of this offense. He had some plays.
Trey Smith gets in there every now
Trey
and then,
Smith gets in there. There's a lot of different places they go. I'm taking the under. It was 42 points last week, or 42 yards last week. He hit the over on that. I think it'll end up being like 45, 46. I'll take the under on it for the Emmanuel Sanders yards. Move on, unless you have a prop.
No, we're good.
Sunday Night Football. Ravens face the Patriots. God, how good did that sound the beginning of the season. It is what it is. I don't know how good of a game this is going to be. I'm taking the Ravens. They're favored by 7 points. I'm taking the Ravens to win and cover. You disagree with me?
I disagree.
Wow. Okay, let's hear it.
Ravens are playing sloppy football. They have so much talent everywhere. You have Hollywood, you have Mark Andrews, you have some elite running backs, you have the MVP in Lamar Jackson, who is playing sloppy right now.
Yeah.
He is not playing MVP level. They are definitely having more than a hiccup season, I would say. They're not favorites in the AFC by any means. I can name 3 or 4 teams that I would rather have over the Ravens based off of how they're playing. Yeah, efficiency.
Name me three.
I mean, the Colts already.
You said Chiefs, Colts, and
Chiefs, Colts, Steelers, Titans.
Wow. Okay, that's more than I wouldn't have said that, but okay.
But that's based off of not looking the roster. They should be there.
Yeah.
But right now they are not firing on all cylinders. Yes, you were able to escape the Colts, man. You got lucky though. You had 2 turnovers in the red zone. You were lucky enough to think that the Colts weren't able to capitalize on what you weren't able to do. Yes, this is going to be no contest this week. They're going to give. A prop for me would be keeping Jacoby Myers under because he just had a blow-up week, so I think receiving yards might be around the 40 or 50s.
Yeah.
I think the corners and Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters are going to lock that ass down.
Yeah.
So take that. It's going to be a rough week for him. You better right the ship because you have the talent to really make the push and do it, but right now it's not happening in my eyes. I'm really hard on this team.
No, hey, that's fair. I think talent is they're gonna figure it out. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
I think they've been getting bailed out.
You're absolutely right. I think the Ravens last week they showed that they're willing to go back to we'll run Lamar Jackson if we have to. We thought he would develop as a passer a little bit more than he has.
He has,
and I still think he will. I think this is the long game. Lamar Jackson's going to be in Baltimore for a long time, but I do agree. Look, they're gonna move to running him a little bit more. Be that smash mouth offense, get it over the top to Brown a little bit more than they have been, and there's such an obvious recipe for success for this team. They're going to get back to it. They're going to figure it out. I understand that look, they tried to move away from it and try and I think they were trying to play it a little bit too far ahead chess. Like they were trying to say, hey, everybody's going to be ready for the run. Let's throw the ball with Lamar Jackson. And it just hasn't worked as well as maybe it should have. They're still a good football team. They're still 5-3, I think, 5-2.
They are still a top 10.
Yeah. So I do think I think they're going to win this game.
But
I think
they're not nipping at the heels of the champions right now.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I wouldn't have said they're better than they're on a matchup base. The Titans are better, but I think bottom to top roster wise, they're better than the Titans. I do think they're better than the Colts
based off of how they're playing right now. I get that. I think the Ravens are just getting lucky sometimes.
Yeah.
If you go back to the way that you let Lamar play, just instinctual, carefree football, you're good.
Well, hey, we'll put a pin in that, and we'll talk about it a little bit more at length next week if it ends up being the case. But we'll move on here because we're trying to finish this pod up. Vikings Monday Night Football. Where are you at with this against the Bears? The Vikings are favored by 2.5.
Well, I've picked against my team 2 weeks in a row, and they've won, which leads me to take the Bears.
Pick against, bro. What are you doing?
I know, but I don't want my record to suffer. I want to be right because the Bears, what they got going on is just trash on the offensive side of the ball. David Montgomery, you just are not the answer. They're going to look a different direction in almost every area on that team.
Yeah, Matt Nagy's the problem on offense. I'm sorry. I think they need to add a quarterback. Obviously, I think no matter what they're going to do, they're gonna get one of these. Like they're going to get the third or fourth quarterback in the draft. Yeah. So that's going to happen. That has to happen. I am not down on the rest of the playmakers. Even David Montgomery, I'm not really like. I get it.
I'm off on him.
I get it. I think they've used him poorly. I really do.
Okay.
And granted, maybe I'm just biased. I haven't dove in and
I think the
studied
plays that
him.
he does get are very limited sample size of runs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's run right, run left, run up the middle. There's not
he gets three.
And there's no threat of a passing.
You're absolutely right. It is exactly what you said. It is 3 running plays. That is their entire offense. It's 3 running plays, and then they can run it to the right or to the left. The left or right, whatever.
Exactly.
But that's it. That's all they have. It's ridiculous. The Vikings should be able to handle that. They should be able to handle this Bears team. But every time I get excited about the Vikings, they let me down. I'm taking the Vikings to win this game. I'm taking the Vikings to cover.
Low key playoff buzz for a 3-5 team right now.
They're looking good. They're doing exactly what they did last year, where they had a late start and they started to put it together and put together some wins. Was it too late? Were they 2 games? Were they a little late on putting it together?
Year, but
we'll
going
see.
Back last year, Kirk Cousins was NFC Offensive Player of the Month in the month of November. Mm-hmm. November's a pretty light schedule for us right now compared to what we've already made it through. We're going to need that out of him if we're going to be able to get promising going forward.
Honestly, you might not. If Dalvin Cook wants to run for 200 yards a week, that'll do it.
Dalvin's carrying some.
Dalvin is killing it. Yeah, Delvin's killing it.
I think we're good.
We're good, man. Hey, we're going to get out of here. We got to go play some basketball. We have some friends waiting on us. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribes, all those good things. Peace out.
7.